welcome to another edition of People. Today we are going to talk to Kalaimamani Roja Kannan. I'm here to ask Srimati Roja Kannan to tell her story with the hope to draw lots of inspiration from her life's work, being Bharatnatyam.
Kalaimamani Roja Kannan started her journey into Bharatnatyam at the age of 12, and she is a senior disciple of late Adayar K. Lakshmanan and Srimati Kalanidhi Narayanan. She runs her Academy of Dance and Music, Bharatnatyalaya, for the past 33 years. There are more than 100 students learning from her school at any time across the world, and more than 70 of her students have done Arangetram, and some have their own schools as well, thus propagating her Bani or style.
Roja Kannan, you are welcome to this episode of People.
Thank you.
Okay. I'll start off. I have prepared a big list of questions for you, so it's going to be a long session. So kindly bear with me. I'll start off with, give us an insight into your early days of learning. When did you start your journey into Bharatnatyam? Floor is yours.
Namaskaram to everyone. I'm very happy to meet everyone through this online chat here. My foray into dancing started very early in my life, and my mother was the reason for my sister Meena and myself to get into learning this art form. She was very passionate about Bharatnatyam, watching a lot of dancing that happened in the Tamil and other Malayalam movies of yesteryears. And she always wanted to learn, and with a background in Badagara in North Malabar, she couldn't get the opportunity to learn. And so, but this passion of hers was there in her mind all the time. And so when her daughters were born, she decided that they will learn dancing. So that is how my sister Meena and myself started into this art form. When I was 5 and my sister was 3, I think we went to Srimati K.J. Sarasa, one of the leading dance gurus of yesteryears. She was just right next to our house. And when we went there, Sarasa teacher said that we were too young to begin. She said, come after 2-3 years. So, but my mother, with her innate, never give up attitude, she said, no, I cannot wait for any more time. And so we had the good fortune of having Natyalaya, the dance school of Dr. Vaijayantimala Bali, just down the road from our home. So we went there, and we were happily welcomed into that dance class. And there we got the very fantastic opportunity of being in the company of the all-time greats in the field at that time. Sri Adayar K. Lakshmanan, Kavi Aravindakshan, Madurai Krishnan, and Madurai T. Sethuraman, Trichur P. Ramanathan. So these were all big names at that time, and they were all part of the faculty at Natyalaya, the dance school of Dr. Vaijayantimala Bali. So we started our classes there. And Vaijayantimala Bali's party, Srimati Yadugiri Devi, she was the overall administrator of the dance class, and my sister was her favorite, and we had a very fun time in the dance class there, and it was like going to school and coming. We also went to dance class every day and came back. So that is how our journey started in this field.
Wow. So when was the Arangetram? Which year? Arangetram.
Arangetram, yes. So our learning continued. I'm talking about 1966-67. So it continued for about 5-6 years, and then in 1972 we had our Arangetram, and at that time we had shifted from Natyalaya because Natyalaya was closed in Chennai, and Dr. Vaijayantimala shifted to Bombay because she got very busy in the Hindi films at that time. So we shifted our learning to Bharatiya Kalabhavanam of Kavi Arvindakshan. So we started continuing our learning there. And Adayar Lakshmanan, Kavi Arvindakshan were all contemporaries in Kalakshetra. So it was not a big change for us. It was just a smooth transition from Natyalaya to Bharatiya Kalabhavanam. And when we were in Bharatiya Kalabhavanam in 1972, with Lakshman sir also wielding the cymbals, we had our Arangetram, a grand Arangetram in RR Sabha in 1972. I think it was January 27th, 1972. Yeah.
Wow, you're spot on with the dates. Okay. Okay. Did you dance with your sister all the time? Do you have, and the second question is, did you have any, specific dance programs like what we have today, like your Natya festival, etc.? And where were the opportunities available?
Yes, I was until 1983 when I got married. I was always dancing with my sister. Most of the time, most of the performances were duet performances, and opportunities was the dance classes had their annual day celebrations. So we used to perform in that. And those days there were a lot of programs in temples as well as in weddings. So weddings, many weddings had receptions and there were dance performances, either for Janvasam or for reception. So we were also dancing in those functions, and any small occasion in my mother's charity club, Monday Charity Club. My Amma was a very senior and founding member in Monday Charity Club, and they had many occasions in that club, and for everything we used to be dancing. Apart from this, the major part of a school was most of the time we were not in class but somewhere dancing all the time. Any small function in the school we were called to dance. So most of the time we were spending dancing rather than studying in school also. So this was what there was a scene in the late 70s, early and late 70s. Yeah.
Okay, because you also answered my next question of how did you manage do your study and your dance balance, so that you have already answered. So I want to know a little about your parents and siblings.
Yeah. Parents, Appa was M.R. Venkatramanan, a practicing chartered accountant, was not very supportive of dance. He was more into Carnatic music, the reason all of you know. And he never really said no, but he was not very happy with what we were doing. But my mother was very strong, a personality, and she just saw to it that we never gave up on our dancing. We could even, escape from the music classes, but we could never escape or take off from our dance classes. So that was how pushy she was when it came to dancing. And of course, my brother was never too involved in it and never too interested in it. I don't know why, right from the beginning. Even for our performances, he hardly ever came. In fact, you people have come more and watched our performances than my brother. Somehow he never got into that mode at all. And my Palakkad Ammamma was very, very proud of us dancing. And at every occasion, she used to proudly introduce us. Nenoda Peti va, Nanna dance adva, period dancers. She took great pride in introducing us as dancers.
Father's mother.
Palakkad Ammamma, yeah. Appa's Amma.
Okay.
Yeah. Unlike her son, she was very happy that we were dancing. And I think in our family, we were the first ones to take up to dancing in Rama Bhagavathar family, I think.
Okay.
Amongst the granddaughters, I think we were the first ones to take it up, I think. And the reason that Ammamma was very proud, Palakkad Ammamma was, they had this connection with the Venkatakrishna Bhagavatara, Kadakali Padams, the one who wrote the first Kadakali Padams. So that connection was also there. So she was doubly proud that we took it up. And the second part of your question about studies, it actually never mattered to us at all. We could find time for everything. Every day, it was a ritual going to dance class, coming back from school, and by 4:35 we were in dance class, and for almost 2 hours we will be there by till 6:30 or 7. And then we used to walk back home. It was always walking. We went by walk and came back by walk to Annamalaipuram. Or sometimes we take the Pallavan bus. And we came back home and showered, and we had time more than an hour or so for our homework, and then dinner and the routine. So it was never an issue for us. And because of our dance, we used to miss a lot of classes in school. Because we had to go out for this occasion, that occasion, dance practice and all that. Even then, we coped up. And in fact, my sister got a double promotion. She did not study second standard. From UKG, she straight away, from first standard, she went to third standard, even with all our dancing and other activities. So that was how, diligent we were with our work and very disciplined at home. And we were the copybook style, we were, both of us, as against my brother, who was always the victim for not keeping up with his studies, for not doing things right. So he always, got caught for such things, whereas we got the Chamati title all the time.
He is not going to be a fan of this channel, let me tell you.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay. See, personally, I discovered myself when I was in college. So you tell me something, a couple of lines about which college did you go, and did your college culturals provide you with a springboard? Did you have a discovery moment?
Yes, always. Because of our training in dance, we were always called dancers, and the dancer punnu. That was a title for us, and we felt really good to be known like that, because see, there are so many who are taking up professions like medicine, engineering, and chartered accountancy and everything. But how many of them take to arts? So the art group is still a minority community here. So to be one amongst them was a big thing for us. And in college also, we were recognized for being good dancers. And all the college culturals for music as well as dance, we have gone and represented our college. And our college annual days, there used to be thematic presentations where we used to collaborate with other students from other dance schools, and we got a chance to choreograph, create our own things. So for all that, we got a lot of mileage. So, and every time we go somewhere in public, there are people who come up. You were that girl who used to keep dancing in college. Liya, nee avadane, abdine they keep come and ask. So that gave us a lot of publicity also. Very good publicity also that way. So that was the one good thing about this art that we learned.
Okay, wow. So schools and colleges generally provide good platforms to bring out your latent talent or your talent, right?
Yes. And we had a very principal who was very much into arts, Sister Helen Vincent. Although she was a Christian missionary, she was so very passionate about Bharatnatyam and Carnatic music. So she encouraged us all the time to keep, to do something with dance and something with music and everything. And since we also studied in a convent in Santhome, both our primary schooling and high schooling were in convents, and there were so many occasions where we danced to Christian themes. We have done for Mary Magdalene, we have done the resurrection of Jesus, everything in Bharatanatyam with lyrics written specifically for that. And we discovered mudras, we discovered movements to show all those, and it was a very interesting bringing up for us to also foray into Christian themes. So many Christian themes we have explored when we were in school and college.
Wow. Okay. Now, wedding, children, business. There must have been a ton of happy duties for you. How are you able to actively pursue your dance with all these things happening?
Yes. So like any South Indian tambram girl, I had to go through this the routine, I would say. The good thing was I studied, and then I did my post graduation, and then I also worked in a travel agency, which was a very, very different profession from anything else that anybody else had done in my circle. So that was another good experience for me. So I got exposed to a very different kind of society also when I was working in Sita Travels. I worked there for almost a year and a half before I got married. Once the marriage was finalized and all that, even after that, we did a couple of programs where the whole family from the in-law side all came and watched and appreciated it and all that. And my mother-in-law was a great fan of dance and music. She, in fact, used to tell me that she's from Ottapalam, and they lived in a huge mansion in Ottapalam. And she always used to tell me that they had gramophone records of Palakad Ram Bhagavad at her home. And her father was a practicing advocate. And every evening, I believe they used to play that old type of gramophone record with a big speaker. So they used to play those records, and my mother-in-law used to always talk about Tata's Samanamevaru, Karahara Priya, Ramani Samanamevaru. So she was that keen in music and dance, and so she was forever encouraging me to pursue my music and dance. And so because of that, I started my teaching. With the children coming one after the other, I couldn't really pursue active dancing, but I started teaching as soon after my son was born. So that is how I started in 1987 teaching, so that I could stay in touch with what I had learned and not forget. With time, one tends to forget all what one has learned. So I also got a chance to be in touch with that, and I learned and I kept in touch with it by starting to teach. So I used to get 2, 3, 4 kids initially for my classes, and it used to be for just 1 hour from 5 to 6 in the evening. And my husband also cooperated with me so much that at that time he will take the kids out to play, either to the beach or to the park, and keep them engaged for 1 hour, 1.5 hours till I finished my class, and then he used to bring them back. So that way I had a very supportive atmosphere at home to pursue my career as a teacher initially. And then after I lost him, that is when I got back to it actively and started practicing again and performing. So that was almost a 13-year hiatus in between. Yeah.
Okay. So between being a teacher and then you starting to perform again, did you have to relearn a lot of things?
Absolutely. So the gap was a huge gap. 13 years is a very long gap for anyone, and it was like relearning the whole thing for me. And the problem was physically also, as women, after 2 childbirths, we undergo so many changes in our physicality as well as our emotional state of mind and everything. And to get back to active dancing is a big challenge. And it took me 2 full years of classes every day to even manage to do one item, maybe 6-7 minute item. So it took me 2 years to get to that level. So I had to start right from the scratch, right from my initial Adavus, right from the first series of Adavu. I had to start from there, and then gradually build up on my stamina. And then after 2 years, I could think of, performing an item. So it is that difficult when you leave a gap and start again. My guru. For that, I would always place on record the immense support and encouragement my guru gave me. Every day at 9 o'clock, he will be waiting for me at the class. I will go late, but he will be ready there, And every day he encouraged me gave me, boost. Like he will talk, give me that boost up talk, don't worry, you will be there, you will get it. நீ பண்ணினது தானே, இப்போ கொஞ்சம் மறந்து போயிருக்கு, அவ்வளவுதானே, இப்போ உடம்பு அதை மறந்து போயிருக்கு, it will get back. So he used to give me that boost talk every day, so that brought me back into the field again. Yeah.
When you say Guru Adayar K. Lakshmanan, sir.
Yes, Adayar, because Kavi Aravindakshan, with whom we were and with whom we did our Arangethram, he shifted to Trivandrum with his family. So because of that, we automatically went to Lakshman sir, Adayar Lakshman sir, because he was the one who was there with us right from the beginning. And the only problem why we didn't go to Adayar Lakshman sir initially was because it was Adayar and Aravindakshan sir was in Annamalapuram, which is closer home for us. So we could walk to that class, but Adayar na bus eduthin ponom. So Amma preferred to us to be closer home. So that's how we went to Aravindakshan sir. Okay, that is the only difference. But otherwise, the learning process, everything is the same.
But you just going back, your husband was in business, right? So
yes.
I think you were also taking care of that business. What happened to that business, and what did you do with that, and how did you manage your
yes life? So what? Yeah. So what happened was, it was an engineering business, and I had absolutely no clue about what it was, because I was not from an engineering background, and I was basically not very interested also, adiyum sollano, and I didn't bother to learn anything. So when this suddenly happened, and this from a bolt from the blue, and something had to be done with the business, because it was a running business with orders, pending orders to be executed and all that. So with the help of my brother, and we found a place, and we could manage. The workers were all there, so we could manage to continue. And I could for 2 years, I think I went to the factory, I sat, and I was only doing administrative work, and I had people to take care of the other things, and we managed to complete the orders and finish all that. The pending orders were all done. And of course, Chandra, my brother Sriram, was there to all along to guide me, because he was into that area of work. And then after I finished the orders, everything, I decided to not continue with it, because it is not my cup of tea. And that was not my passion also. I did it because I had to do it. And then my heart was not there. I couldn't manage it on a daily basis. More so because the children were too young for me to leave them on a daily basis for long hours away from home. I had to leave around 8 o'clock in the morning, and I used to come back at 7 or 8 in the night from the factory. And the children were totally lost. My mother and my aunt were all there to look after them. But still, it was a huge burden on them to be left alone at that time. So I felt that was more important than taking care of the business. So I just totally shut shop and closed it. That's it. Yeah.
Now coming back to Bharatnatyam, I thought that you switching from a standard margam to a theme-based dance was, I think that was the best decision that you could have made. And also, one more thing happened is, only when I started to watch theme-based productions, I could, as a lay person, I could appreciate what was happening on the stage and about the art itself. In fact, I remember one show where I think last year, there was a Katyakari on the stage. I don't know what production is that? Which one was that?
Thirumailai Kuravanji.
Thirumailai Kuravanji. She was a riot. Okay. When and how did your theme-based production start?
Actually, it was not by choice, but it was a necessity. So when I came back to the field after the hiatus, and the performing scene had completely changed, had completely transformed. It was not what I was doing, performing along with my sister, about 15 years back. At that time, everybody was just dancing the Bharatnatyam Margam, or the repertoire, which was a set of items starting from the opening item to the Tilana. Of course, there was a variety in that. It had everything. It had a theme running through and everything. But then the whole thing had completely changed with people adapting this margam or this repertoire to theme-based performances. That is, you pick up a theme and then you bring in items that are related to that theme and try to present it in a different, this old wine in a new bottle. It's just that theory. So when that started happening, I had to also go along with the change. I had to adapt myself to that. And my guru also had a big challenge at adapting to such new things, because they were all not used to. He's from Kalakshetra, which is the very strict disciplinarian setup in which he learned. So he also had to adapt himself to such performances. But we didn't do anything away from the tradition. It was strictly traditional in character, whatever we did. But then every time it was a learning process, because we were delving into new subjects, we were delving into new lyrics, we had to think of new compositions, music had to be set for many. And so it was a lot of work. It was a lot of extra work. And it was a very interesting process that all of us had. My first thematic was based on Thiruvaruppa, Ramalinga Adigalar Thiruvaruppa, which was a very huge learning process for me. I am also a big fan of Tamil, but I never knew that there was so much, in that work of Ramalinga Adigalar that one could explore. And most of the time we had to invent new mudras, new hastas, to present such certain themes that we were not used to doing before. So the whole process became very interesting. And the best part of it was the response that we got from the audience. So without the audience, what can we do? Without the response from the audience, it's not going to be of any use. So this thematic performances became the order of the day at that time. So early 2000 and 2001, 2002, 2003 and all that time when everybody was doing thematic. So that is how my foray into thematic programs started.
Till date, how many thematics you have done?
Yeah, I've done more than 15 thematic productions.
15, okay.
15 thematic productions.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yes, yeah.
And the most important thing is, I always wondered, just enlighten me on this. I always wondered, when you do a vocal kacheri or an instrumental kacheri, it's more of a controlled environment. There are not too many variables. But now let us take, for example, a drama like R.S. Manohar's historical dramas. There are too many elements into it and too many variables. I saw as much complication as in an R.S. Manohar drama as in your productions. So how did you manage all those variables on stage and off stage?
It's a lot of work, Hari. You have to really be at it. Like, for example, I had a thematic production on Upanishads, which was a commissioned work. I was commissioned by Natya Rangam to do it. So the challenge was to take up all the Upanishads and bring out the essence from the Upanishads. The Upanishads as such is a very, very vast subject. And to bring it into an interesting performance of 1.5 hours, 90 minutes, you bring in the essence of all the Upanishads is the biggest challenge I've ever faced in my life. And it was a work that took me almost 8 to 9 months to get some shape for that performance, So it's a lot of work. It's every thematic production takes a lot, right from the time the idea is germinated in your head to even get a shape to what it is going to be and to make it interesting, to make it audience friendly. Because if you don't bring it out in a way that it reaches the audience, they'll just walk away. And in India, there is no discipline in the audience. Like, you have to wait for the performance to end and go. And even in the middle of a item, people just walk away if it's not interesting. So all these have to be thought of before you present something on stage. How to make the audience sit and wait for more.
See, one thing about a theme-based performance that I have seen all over is, if you miss the beginning, you have missed the show. And if you don't end up waiting till the end, you don't really you get to enjoy the full story. That much I have seen.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
There are a few lighter things I wanted to ask you. Every dance recital I see is sort of high intensity workout. So, do dancers require any special exercise regimen, any workouts? What kind of injuries you get?
See, why the problem started in the late, I would say 80s, when dance classes became twice a week or thrice a week instead of daily classes. So when we were learning, it was a daily affair. Every day that 1 or 2 hours of active physical exercise we got. And more than that, it was not only just going to the dance class and dancing, it was walking to the bus stop, taking the bus, then from the bus stop to the dance class, walk again, then again come back. So that exercise that we had was all lost when the two-wheelers came in, when the cars came in, car with driver. So the children don't have any other physical activity. So just that 1 hour in the dance class that they get for 2 days in a week is not enough at all for them to maintain their stamina, especially. So that is why of late there are many cross training that is happening with many of the dancers, and it's become a necessity now. So even for me, since I don't get to practice every day, I need some cross training. So I somehow yoga has become my mantra for good health. So I am sticking to yoga. So there are many others who do many other things to keep this stamina in them, constant, because otherwise you should have, of course, there are many tools now. You have online classes, you have recorded Adobe sessions, everything you have. You should be that much, pushed to practice on your own every day. Otherwise, it is a big challenge to maintain yourself physically with the current lifestyle.
Do you have any special diet or something?
Diet in the sense, I'm a foodie. I love to eat. So and I have a sweet tooth also to top it. So, but I have to really be careful with the fat content that I take. So it's not that I avoid anything. My principle is eat well and exercise well, burn it. So that is my principle. So I don't want to give up, because you only live once. That's what I feel. So you better live well, eat well, and then exercise well and burn it well. That's it. That is my mantra. Yeah.
Okay. Coming back to Bharatnatyam, do you stick to tradition or do you do innovation?
I actually am a very stickler to tradition. I am not too in for the lot of changes that are happening, but I feel you have to innovate within the tradition, because otherwise you will be kept like a museum piece. You will not be able to relate to the current generation. So I also innovate, but that innovation also happens within the tradition. That I am very strict about. Even when I do new choreographies for my students, there's one thing that I always insist on is, we discover new movements with our body, we discover new adavus with our body, but nothing should cross that line of what they call it as auchityam. That line has to be maintained all the time. And once it goes to the other side, then it is not anymore pleasing or aesthetic to watch. So that is my very humble opinion.
Okay. See, I just finished an interesting Tamil inscription episode, 21-part episode with Professor Madhusudanan Kalaimamani. He's an expert in our cultural heritage. From the programs I made with him, I understood that there was a fertile, what I should say, an ecosystem available at one point in time for dancers. Now that kind of funding ecosystem is not available. So how much financial hit do you take? In terms of how much strain do you take financially.
Yes. Yes.
I mean,
Actually, it is.
vis-a-vis the expenses that you do on your costumes, your preparation. If it's a team-based work, it's much more. And then, how do you recover the costs?
It's always a mismatch. It's always a struggle. That's the problem with this field, actually. And to get a foothold of yourself in this field and to establish yourself in a position where the art will take care of you, it takes a very long time, at least 3 to 4 decades of your sustained hard work, without which you cannot see any results. The main reason is because the proliferation of dances. There is too much of supply, too much. But the demand is not on par with the supply. So the demand is there. There is too much. So there is no way that this is going to be matched. So it's always the best who survive, or the one who can stick to it for longer will survive. And the one who is who's able to work her things through, those are the people who survive. The others just give up halfway and pack up and go. So it is a big challenge. There is no match at all.
So you're saying good, rich content as well as ability to be street smart.
Yes.
Here.
Yes.
Okay, my next question to you is, you would have had a lot of bright students over these years. At some point in time, due to circumstances, they would have discontinued dance, I'm talking about really promising students who would have discontinued at some point in time. Have you ever brought them back to mainstream?
Yes, many of them, in fact. Very bright and promising, and then they got married, and then they got kids, and they got settled the kids and everything, and now they have sort of reached a point where they are able to settle their family. Now they've come back, and they have started their own classes. They have started teaching. They have started performing. So that way the connection just keeps going. It maybe temporarily there is a break, but then it just keeps going. So it just gets transformed from one generation to the other. That is there.
So does this mean that no one is taking up dance as a full-time work? They're taking it as an additional skill. Is that what I understand?
There are many who have taken it up full-time also. There are many, but the thing is, they all qualify themselves first. Educationally, they all see to it that they are qualified. So anytime they can fall back on something. So they have, all the kids these days are very smart that way. So they are multitasking. So I have many students who are all pursuing full-time engineering courses. At the same time, they are doing their post-graduation in fine arts. That is, they're taking up dance as a post-graduation. So by the time they come out of their engineering, they will have double degrees with them. So they're also qualified in dance and also a qualified engineer. And nowadays, there are many options open for students to take up dancing as a profession in teaching. So there are many who take that up also. So they are equipping themselves for both. So they can either go for the engineering stream, or they can get a job as a professor in an arts college for teaching and everything. So that is also happening. So the kids are doing both these days. That's one thing.
Yeah. Okay. Now I'm going to ask you a fun question. Is there a favorite salangai or a favorite jewelry, which you prefer to carry in all your important programs?
Yeah, I have a favorite
habit.
Yeah, I have a favorite pair of chalangais, which I feel most comfortable when I wear. Although many of the bells have fallen from that, I still repair it and then try to keep that as my, because I'm also sentimentally attached to that salangai.
Okay.
So I have.
Okay, everyone has a quickie habit, right? Okay. Now, I remember in 2011, there used to be, this Chennai Sangamam, which used to be conducted across all parks. It was a fantastic thing that happened. No, I used to see all those folk arts, all those Poikal Kudra, drums. It was really fun in the evenings. Now I have seen you dance at I don't know which park. That
Natation Park.
Natation Park, right? Bharata Samudayam Varave.
Yeah.
I have never seen such a huge crowd rooting for a Bharatnatyam artist. That was something that blew my mind out. It was like that, I had to go back to that Sindhu Bhairavi song, Cherikkum Sera Veno, Adukkum Paatu Padi, Appadinu Solli. When she sings, she says, let it appeal to the grassroots people, let it appeal to commoners. Like that. Well, similarly, what other programs you have done that were appreciated by ordinary people like me?
See, I get such crowds when I dance in temple festivals.
Oh.
So this sort of an experience I have got when I danced in Srivilliputturu for Adipuram. We'd gone to Srivilliputturu. So there it was a massive crowd. It's just simply massive. You can't even see, you can just see heads. It's like that massive. And nobody ever moves, and all the performances start after 9 o'clock in the night. But still, you have such a captive audience in a temple, and there's not, it's not the best of stage, not the best of audio, not the best of lights, with all this substandard things. But still, you manage to reach your audience, and there are people coming and mobbing you after the performances. And this happens even in our Natyanjali circuits. When we go to for Shivaratri, we go from temple to temple for Natyanjali. So on a single day, we do 2-3 temples. We go from one uru to the next, one town to the next, like that. So even there, Natyanjali performances are a rage because of the audience. Wherever you go, whatever time you do, even if it is at 1 o'clock in the 1 a.m. in the morning, early morning, there will be a crowd sitting there and watching you. So that is the beauty of performances, dancing in temples and festivals like these.
So when you go to down south of Tamil Nadu, your programs essentially will be Tamil songs, is it?
Yeah.
Tamil.
Yeah, we do. Yes, because I'm very careful in choosing. The programming is very important for a dancer. It has to suit, and you have to think about the audience that are going to come that day for your performances. So what will sell during a December season festival program in Krishagana Sabha or Pramagana Sabha will not sell in a Natyanjali crowd most of the time. So you have to sort of rework your items to suit the audience. Otherwise, it is not going to reach them. So that is a very most important aspect of programming.
Okay. Can you tell me something about a little about your school? And I also want to know this Nattuangam and songs. All those go along. Do you also teach them in your school?
See, singing for dance and doing Nattuangam for dance is a very different ball game. Not everybody who dances can sing, and not everybody who dances can do the Nattuangam. So you have to actually specially train for it. And you should have a year for Talam for that. Otherwise, it is very difficult for you to handle the Nattuangam. Because the Nattuangam it's just two. You just have one on the left hand and one on the, and with that, those two, you have to bring the whole Talam under your control. And the Nattuvanar, or the one who does the Nattuangam, is the one who controls the orchestra completely. So the Nattuvanar is the one who controls the Mridangam player to keep up the pace, also gives cues to the vocalist as to what pace she should start singing. And so the role of the Nattuvanar is very important in a performance. And you have to train for it. Although in my learning process in my Adya Lakshman's dance school, we never really sat down to learn. But when others were dancing, when we used to sit down, sir used to tell us to take up the cymbals and start doing the Natwangam. He says, do it. Don't simply sit and watch. Sing and do it along with me. So that is how we learned. Doing along with him, we learned. And then he used to correct us in between and things like that. So now also I encourage my students, anybody who comes to the class has to sit and also do the Natwangam, has to sit and sing. The more than Natwangam, I insist that everybody should learn music, because if there is no musicality in you, your dance is not going to take you anywhere. There has to be that sense of musicality in you, which is very important for dancers. You should be able to sing all your compositions. Only then the correct mood and the correct expression for that particular song will come to you. Without knowing the song, without knowing the meaning of the words, without knowing the language, it's not necessary you should learn all the languages, but at least learn the word-to-word meaning of everything that you dance. Otherwise, you're not going to reach the audience. That's very important for a dancer. So I insist on my students sitting and doing the Natwangam. First, they start with the Tattikadi. So the first training will not start with the Natwangam. It will start with the Tattikadi, and gradually they will progress to the Natwangam, because in the Natwangam it's more challenging to get the faster beats. It's a little simpler to get it on the Tattikadi first, and when your wrist movement improves on that, then you gradually shift to the Natwangam. Then that is a process.
Okay. Now, this is a serious question. What kind of support system is available for a student who is not able to afford the cost of training, and importantly an arangetram? Because an arangetram, I can see from the outside, the economics work out, so as much money you spend on a wedding, you spend on an arangetram. So what is it? What is in it for a poor student here?
See, there are many dance schools where students who are not able to afford are taught free of cost. Even I have many students who I know who are very passionate about learning and who will not be able to afford. So I just tell them, don't bother. Just bring them to the class. The parents are not in a position to handle the fees and other things. So there are many schools where I see about 10% of the students learn without paying the fees. So that way we encourage the children to learn, to get themselves at least a sort of an idea about what the art is about. Because you cannot say it is only for us, it's only for you, it's only for this class, or it's only for this caste. That sort of thing has gone long back, which is a good thing, And there is this project in Abhay, for which I am the president now. We are working along with another trust called Anmajoti Trust. So with which we take this art form to the schools where the children from the marginalized society are studying, like the corporation schools, the government schools, the other metric schools, where children do not get an opportunity to be exposed to such art forms. So we take the teachers to those schools, we fund the teachers, and we take them to those schools and make them teach there and teach those students. So that way, a sort of balance we are trying to create. So coming to the question of Arangetram, this Arangetram as a very big commercial event is something that has happened about 10 years back. Till then, it was a very low-key affair with just the family and friends coming in and the student going on stage and doing a full-length performance as a solo. But then what happened in between was there were students who couldn't afford even that. That is, it involves hiring a hall, getting a costume ready, paying the orchestra, and invitations, photographs, and other things. So people started group arangetrams. So 4 or 5 children joined together and share the cost and do the group arangetram. So that was one viable solution for this. But in everything, even in a solo arangetram or a group arangetram, there is a point where you have to draw the line. Up to where do you take this? Nobody asks you to put in so much of money on the invitation. The best of printing, the best of photographs. You hire a very specialized photographer for this, the one who does portfolios for film shoots and all. There's no need for you to go to that level, where he charges per frame, he'll charge you 40,000-50,000. What's the big idea? You don't even know whether this girl is going to continue with the art after the Arangetram. There are many who just stop after the Arangetram, which is an unfortunate part of the whole thing. So it is up to the teacher to draw the line. There are many teachers, unfortunately, on whom we don't have a control, who just take it to any lengths of commercialization and fleece the parents, literally fleece the parents. So because of which the parents are not able to let the child continue after the Arangetram, because after that they are gone, totally, down the drain. They're not able to continue the child in the art form. So it is up to the teachers to draw the line. Whatever is necessary only needs to be done. Actually speaking, in Kalakshetra, the dance school where my guru studied and came, there is no such thing as an Arangetram at all. They will just see for an auspicious day, keep the salanai in front of the Natarajar and give it to the girl and ask her to wear it and start dancing. That's it. This huge business of Arangetram was never there. It is something that came up in the late 60s or early 70s.
Okay.
And after that, now it has become a huge racket, I would say. Literally a racket.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, just a couple of more questions. Can you just tell me something about your children and your grandkids?
Yeah. I have two children, a daughter Janani and a son Jayant. And both of them have one sons. So I have two grandsons. And Janani is well trained in Carnatic vocal music. And also, she started learning Bharatnatyam with me initially. So she came up to the items. She was very quick in learning, very smart. And she could not even getting up and dancing. She'll sit and watch and she'll learn. So she was that smart in learning. And the problem was the chemistry, the equation between us didn't work out well.
Uh-huh.
So it was always a point where she said she knew everything and she need not learn it or she need not practice it and all. So I thought this is not going to work out. And so that is why I sent her to Kuchipudi, to another teacher. Why another dance style itself was because we had, Meena and myself, my sister Meena and myself had this urge to learn Kuchipudi from long back. We even went to Vempati Chinnasatyam sir when he was in T Nagar, near where is it? Near G.N. Chetty Road, that road which connects North Usman Road and G.N. Chetty Road. In between that road, there's a Kalyana Mandapam. Next to that was Vempati Chinnasatyam Master's house, one of the greatest gurus of Kuchipudi he was. But then we were about 6 or 7 at that time. He said, "You're too young to start. You can come after 10 or 11. So then we got too busy with Bharatanatyam, so we couldn't learn it. And that is one of the main reasons why I put Janani in Kuchipudi. So Kuchipudi Arts Academy is where she started. And at that time, Vempati Chinnasatyam Guru was there. So she had the good fortune of starting off her Kuchipudi lessons with him. And she did very well. And then she did her Arangetram. In 2014, I did her Arangetram when she was in her 11th, I think, when she was in 11th standard. And after that, she performed many places, many sabhas. She was a natural as far as dancing was concerned. And she had a very tall frame and very graceful, which suited Kuchipudi very well. That was everybody's remarks after she performed, Her frame was such, and she was very expressive also. And Kuchipudi had a lot of drama in it. Unlike Bharatanatyam, Kuchipudi was more drama. And she suited that very well. And in fact, Indian Fine Arts competition also, she won the first prize for Kuchipudi when she performed. And she continued after her child was born also. She continued, she gave performances here during the season. And luckily for her, she has a very encouraging mother-in-law and father-in-law who are urging her to do it more. So after a gap of about 5-6 years, she started performing again in Melbourne. Now she started getting into the scene in Melbourne, and she's performing for small events there, and she wants to get back to it. There is a lot of demand for her to start teaching, which she has to take it up and do.
Okay.
And as far as Giant is concerned, Giant was always playful, and but the thing is, he learnt Mridangam. He was very sincere, and he learnt Mridangam, and he also learnt Vedam and all the other associated slokams. We had a Veda master at that time. So Rudram, Chamakam, Ganam, everything he used to say. He was very good at it. And Mridangam he played for a long time. And now I think after he went to the US, he has not restarted it again. In fact, I found a teacher close to his house when I went there. I told him, it's high time you start. Your weekends have to be dedicated to continuing to do the Mridangam. He's good at rhythm. He also experimented with drums for some time. He also learned drums and he did it for some time. Yeah.
Okay. Tell me something about I think 2019 you were awarded the Kalaimamani for Bharatnatyam.
2017 was the year for which I was awarded in 2019.
19. Tell me about that experience.
Actually, I'm not I'm not one who is really, going behind awards. I'm not very interested in that. What my thinking is, if your work is good and if people think you're really good, they will come and call you and give the awards. That is my take on the whole thing. My guru was like that. Every single award that he had got, including the Padma Shri, everything was got because people came and gave it to him. He never went behind any awards. Till date, Lakshman sir was like that. And I am one, and everything that I have got, thankfully, up till now, has all come on its own and knocked at my doors. And Kalaimamani also, for that matter, is one such thing, is one such award. The only thing I did was Sudharani Raghupati, Professor Sudharani Raghupati, who is in the panel, she said, you just apply. You have to apply. If you don't apply, people will not know that there is an artist like this. So you please apply. So I applied. So that's the only thing I did. Apart from that, I just forgot about it. And then, there was so much of delay. I think I applied in 2005 in 2012 or 13. And then it took so long for that to materialize. Kudukalai. They didn't give the awards for 5 years in between because of a lot of issues in the Mantram. And then finally they declared in 2019. So they gave for the past 8 or 9 years together, they gave the awards at that time.
Okay. Is this Bharatnatyam exclusively a domain for women, and do men really get to do well here?
Yeah. There are a lot of male dancers now. There are a lot of them who are taking it up as a full-time profession. And the good thing is there are a lot of them who get married to dancers, and as a couple they establish the school, and they're all doing very well, extremely well. It's become a very lucrative profession to take up as a couple now, because both of them are able to concentrate and do things. And performance also, duet performances are encouraged a lot. So it's a lot of men are there in this, lot of men.
Just a couple of questions remaining. What are your future plans?
For me, as far as my dance class is concerned, teaching has been my biggest passion in life. I love to teach. And so that's why even in the lockdown period, my online classes are going on full swing. And the best part is I was not a big fan of online classes. I've been avoiding it for years together. But then this lockdown situation has forced me into it. And now I have somehow got used to it. So the good thing is my students abroad, those in the US and those in Europe and those in the Far East, everybody is able to come into the class now. So all those who were out of the class for about almost 4 or 5 years because of their various studies and professions and other things, now all of them are able to come into the dance class again. and we are all having enjoyable sessions in that. So teaching will continue as far as I can think of, because I'm also learning when I'm teaching. Every class I teach, I also learn something. Every class there is something unique or something different that I learn, either from the students or from my own mistakes. I keep learning. So that's one thing that I won't give up. And currently, as from 2018, I'm serving as president of ABAI, which is the Association of Bharatnatyam Artists of India. This is the only association of its kind in the whole world for Bharatnatyam artists, the only forum for Bharatnatyam artists all over the world. And I have been a member of ABAI for the past almost 22 years. Since I got back to dancing, I became a member. And all the senior gurus of Bharatanatyam have been served as presidents in this association. And I'm very blessed to be in the line of all these greats of Bharatanatyam as a president. And at ABAI, we have, it's mainly a service-oriented society for the sake of artists, a unified voice for the artists. And I want to, I have a lot of dreams about getting ABAI recognized as the main only body of artists in the Ministry of Culture and the Sangeet Natak Academy and places where it matters. And there are a lot of things that as artists we are lacking, like where other professions are better off. One thing is because it's still in an unorganized sector. The art and culture in government policies is still in an unorganized sector. So there are really no schemes by which artists are going to be benefited. If you take the case of the lockdown and the pandemic situation now, because of the lockdown, all activities in the field of art and culture have been stopped. So what happens to those artists who are earning because of performances, who are earning because of classes, who are earning because of tours to various places? So there is nothing to fall back on for them. If they have savings, they are saved. The people who are there without savings, they're all in big, very bad situation. For which, from ABAI, we have started this welfare fund, where we are collecting funds from our own sources, from our own resources, and trying to help these artists who are not able to take care of their basic needs these couple of months. So till the pandemic is completely wiped out, and till they are able to gain a foothold for themselves with the performances and festivals starting again, how are they going to survive? I heard that there are about 500 Nadaswaram artists without jobs because all the temples are closed, all the festivals have been cancelled, weddings have been stopped. Where will the Nadaswaram artists go and play? So there are 500 of them registered in the ELSA Nadak Mandram who do not have any source of income. So those are the kind of artists we are trying to tap. One, Terikuthu artists, Karagatam artists, Tappatam artists. So all of them, they're all only performing in temple festivals. So when the temple itself is closed and when the festivals are not happening, and predictions are it is not going to happen for the next 2 or 3 months, yes, how will these people survive? And they're most of them illiterate. So because of their illiteracy, most of them do not have a bank account. Most of them do not know what it is to maintain a bank account. So we are dealing with such sort of people now. So from ABAI, my role as a president in ABAI is for me to see as many artists as possible be resurrected in this time of crisis. So that is what I have started. It is doing well. We are hoping to garner more funds. And thankfully, just yesterday, last night, Minister for Culture, Prahlad Patel, has made an announcement that from Sangeet Natak Academy, all artists will be given some aid as compensation to survive the pandemic. Some aid, all artists, irrespective of what they are practicing, irrespective of what their classical or folk or tribal art or whatever it is, they will all be given some aid. So which is a good thing, which has happened since last night. Hopefully it should happen soon, because many of them are really suffering without basic needs also. Wow. So my role as a president in ABAI is that, as of now. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. One last question. What is the message you want to send out to aspiring dancers?
Yeah. Many a times I've been asked this question, and in fact, in last year's Natya Darshan seminar also, there was a session called Viewpoint, where they asked me, how do you rate yourself as a personality in the field of dance now? So for the youngsters who are into it, nothing will come overnight. It is a very long process. It's a long road that you have to tread, and it is not a bed of roses. There are so many n number of issues that you have to face, and n number of competition that you have to face. But there is always light at the end of the tunnel. That's what I feel. If you work hard and if you sustain in it, if you're able to sustain in it, and lucky if you're able to make the right moves at the right time, then you will be definitely able to achieve success. So you have to be at it. Don't give up easily. Be at it. And don't hesitate to ask. If you ask, you will get. If you go and pursue, you come, including opportunities, you go ask for the opportunity. Don't think the opportunity will always come and knock at your door. People are not going to come and ask you, come and dance in my sabha. You have to go approach them. You have to ask them. There is a modus operandi of doing it. Do it within that. And you pursue it, then you will see your results. So you have to be at it. Hard work, sincere commitment. Without those, nothing is going to happen.
Okay. It was so nice speaking to you, Roja, today. And viewers, there is so much inspiration that we can draw from what I originally planned as a 40-minute interaction. Now it's almost twice the time, and it's worth every minute. I would want all those aspiring dancers and the people who are already pursuing it as a passion and a career to go into this video and understand whatever Roja is trying to tell you. And I hope this is going to work out wonderfully for every one of you watching this. Thank you so much, Roja. Have a great
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And viewers, let's meet another day, another edition of People. Yeah, thank you very much.